This is a 2001 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD, and it has an Allison transmission in it, and it is having all type of electrical problems. It loses reverse. Also, a lot of times that problem can be in this rain sensor area here. We got this valve body, or got the pan down, but one thing we do see is that this is leaking out of the transmission connector. So it is advised by a lot of tech services to replace the internal wire harness on this transmission, which you will have to access it by up here, and we're going to have to take the valve body off though in order to get to this. So we're going to do that, and then we'll go from there and see if this solves his issue. Again, this is an Allison transmission, and it loses reverse. On this 2500 Chevy HD, which is losing its reverse and all type of other things, we first changed the internal wire harness because it was bad. Now, this thing got over 300,000 miles. I don't like dealing with things like this, but the transmission looks clean, and it is an Allison. But here it has a P0721, which says output speed sensor performance, and the customer changed the output speed sensor and still had an issue. It also shows pressure control, solenoid circuit, electrical, P0748 or P0778, which is pressure control, solenoid B circuit, electrical. So we move up. It shows a P1711, transmission pressure switch E stuck closed, and a P1713, transmission pressure switch reverse circuit malfunction, and a P1720, transmission solenoid A controlled clutch engaged. That's all it has now. By this having 300,000 miles, there could definitely be a valve that's stuck inside of that thing. In fact, the whole valve body probably need to be done, but this has 300,000 miles on it. Now, first thing I'm going to do after changing the internal wire harness is test these pressure switches, and I found out from ATSG, Mr. Jerry got there, so I have to give them credit on this, that there are two switches that are not used. I didn't know that. So it only uses 4 switches. This is 2001 here, so you want to ground it and press them and see if it shows a reading on the scanner. If it shows a reading on the scanner, then we know the computer can see it. Then there's going to have to be some other issue there. Either computer is lying, or there really is an actual problem. Now again, at over 300,000 miles on here, I will believe that this pressure switch E valve is bad, and probably some other valves in there. So where are we? We are up here under it right now, and I have a pressure switch. This is a new one. I didn't want to use the used one, so I got a new one up here, and I am going to, I got a wire here, so I'm going to use this to ground this solenoid to the transmission. So first let me put it right here, take the other one, and I'm going to put it right here. right here. Okay, now I'm gonna take something and press on. This is not used, this one is not used, and this one is not used. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 is used. This is reverse. This is something, this is something, something. I can't remember which one. I know this is reverse. So we are going to go down here to the escape. Yeah, escape. Go to the live data here. Transmission. And let me see if pressure control solenoid will show the switches. If not, I'm gonna have to go to everything. No, it doesn't. So I gotta go back. And okay, so here's the pressure switches. C, D, E, and reverse. Reverse is normally on with the key on, which is right there. Reverse, transmission fluid. So if I press on it, that should go to off. When I press on E, that should go to on. I press on D, it should go to off. I mean, excuse me, on. I press C, it should go to on. Okay. And like I said, I'm gonna take some and press these switches in. Okay. So let me see here. I gotta set this camera where you all could see this. Okay, we got the pressure switches here, which is, where it is, C, D, E, and R. Okay, normally on is reverse. The pressure switches here, this would be reverse. Let's see, reverse is here. This one and this one is not used. So you have reverse, and this reverse, this is E. And this is D, and this is C. So this is off, 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 and this one is on. So off, 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 and on. And I'm going to take this here and push this down, and we should see a change down here. Set this here where you could see it. Okay, so reverse, E, D, and C. So this is off, 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 on. Okay, press reverse, and it went off. Take it off, and it comes back on. Now I'm going to press E, turns on, and then off. Now to press D, on, and off, then C, on, and off. Okay, so we know then it's sending a signal there. As you depress these switches here, I was just pushing them, taking this and pushing it down and watching it change and then taking it off. So now the next step is to see If the customer want to go further, because you have to, if it's throwing pressure switch codes, then I would say that something is wrong in this valve body, because pressure switch shows a reading, and we already changed that internal wire harness. We put a new one on because it was leaking pretty bad. You saw that. But now we went to this step here. This is going. Now we're going to see, and with 300,000 miles on here, I'm guaranteeing that valve is messed up inside this valve body. Probably a lot of other valves too. I don't know too much about the output speed sensor, but you got to go one step at a time. Once again, I don't like really doing this with a vehicle that has this many miles on there, but it didn't appear to be burnt. So I guess we will go on and see if we can troubleshoot this. So we move into the next step if the customer wants to go.